Hello everybody. This is going to be a live stream here for this one. I think this is probably a little bit more fitting. I've tried a couple of times, so I think a live stream would be much more appropriate. So I'm going to talk about animation in iClone. So I went through some of the basic animation tools. There we go. So yeah, I talked about the basic animation tools, your edit motion layer, the facial puppet, and the face key, and a little bit of the curve editor, but now it's time to do an animation in iClone. So before we do that, I do want to go through a couple of subjects. Number one is let's talk about the 12 principles of animation. This was from old Disney animators. So the 12 principles of animation is squash and stretch, anticipation, staging, straight ahead action versus pose to pose, follow through and overlapping action, ease in, ease out, or slow in, slow out, arcs, secondary action, timing, exaggeration, solid drawing, and appeal. So a couple of things we're going to work with is one is anticipation. We're not going to deal with squash and stretch. That's more like if you're dealing with cartoon characters. This is more like I said, this is Disney's animation principles. So if you want to do something more cartoonish, we can do squash and stretch. But keep in mind, when you're dealing with squash and stretch, you have to kind of at least obey certain laws. So obviously when you kind of notice when it's stretching, whoopsies, you notice it still, even though you don't want to be respectful to the size, obviously you don't want to add more material or decrease material. So if it's a lot more thinner, it has to be a lot more taller, and it has to be more wider, it has to be shorter, that kind of thing. Anticipation, let's say if a character is winding up to punch somebody, there's kind of a wind up and punch. The audience is knowing something is about to happen. We usually deal with pose to pose, and then there's follow through and overlapping. So let's say if there's like hair or arms or something like that, ease in, ease out is very important. So I'll discuss that when it comes to the curve editor. And arcs is going to be an important thing too. And we're going to deal with secondary action and timing, and maybe a little bit of exaggeration. So those are your 12 principles of animation. So let's also go through the curve editor. So I'm going to make a basic shape, and we're going to make a box. I'm also going to be opening up the curve editor. So this seems a little intimidating for some, and trust me, I can understand. It's quite something. A lot of people don't seem to use it very much. I got quite a few questions on the curve editor, but this is very helpful when it comes to your animation. And one of the few things I complained about in iClone 7 was, I even complained it to them, why did you charge money for the curve editor? Why? It was one of the few things that I was just scratching my head at. They were charging for it, so I'm like, that should have been included to the program. But yeah, the curve editor is quite important. So let's go with at least 5 meters. There we go. And let's just press F. So F will get you here. So this here is value over time. Value, time. That's what the curve editor is. So let's just move this object And let's just put this to the side and play it. So it kind of eases in and eases out a little bit. So let's just move this. Let's actually do something here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, and let's go to transition curve, and let's go to linear. Same thing for this, make sure it is linear. So you can see it's a straight line, and it instantly stops. So if we do an ease out, and then an ease in, you kind of see it. Whoop, just like that. Ease in, ease out. So let's do something different. So let's take this and I want to do slow. Let's actually do fast. So let's just add a key. And let's do like an auto or something. Make it smooth. We'll kind of smooth it a bit. So you can see stop. And kind of optimize maybe just a little bit. You can even change it here, so that's just something to consider. See, it kind of goes back. So what you can do is just even it up like this. You know, just kind of smoothing out just a little bit. Just like that. So it's just a little bit of working with it, you know. Just kind of making sure it's an ease in, ease out kind of thing. So the overall goal is to obviously you know, do smoother animation. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know. But that's kind of like an overall thing with the curve editor. It's just kind of making a smooth path. So you want a nice slow gradual path. We're going to be using this tonight for our animation. So we're going to bring in Kevin. Oops. And I think my thing crashed. Oh, yep, it did. Hopefully that didn't cause any serious damage, but okay. Let's get Kevin. And now it's time to properly animate. So a couple things here when it comes to our character, which is make sure everything is fine. This is Kevin, so right click, remove object animation. So you kind of notice that he was out here. Sometimes the transform people are seeing characters like move around and slide and you don't know what to do. Just right click and delete animation, or you can go to animation, remove scene, and then you can keep first, last, or current. So just something to consider. You can remove object or scene, so lighting or anything like that, just remember. So going to go to content, we're going to go to breathe and double click, make sure the character has animation. So characters need to be in idle animation. The reason why is, you don't want them kind of standing still like the Tin Man and the Wizard of Oz. That really looks really awkward. There has to be some motion to it. So we're going to be covering how to turn the character's head. Now, some people, and myself included, when it comes to this kind of animation, sometimes some people will do this. So some of you are wondering, well, head turning animation, really? I'll just do this. There we go. So, and then you just play the animation. Okay, that looks good, right? And the truth is, not so much. It's a head turning animation. There's kind of a lot of layers, a lot of some fundamentals that will help you improve your animation skills in iClone, and I'm going to go through them. So let's actually do a head turning animation. Now, is it going to be perfect? No, probably not. This is the kind of thing I could mess around with for hours and just go back and forth and back and forth. It's as good as you can, but right now I just want to teach the basics. So when it comes to head turning animations, let's go here and say there's something interesting for him. So the first thing I like to do is, let's just go from point A, and I like to set up at something like 200 to point B. So let's go with 250. So I like to set it up at like 50 frames and then kind of adjust to find something I like. So the first thing I'd like to do is go here. Now we can just do this, but I also like to turn the body because this is one of the animation principles. There's a little bit of follow through. Not only that, but there's like secondary animation. When the character is turning, you don't really do this with your neck because that's going to hurt you. You kind of turn your body, and that's something you really kind of notice when you're kind of turning. So it's your body. You slightly turn. You can do this, not only that, but we can also, pressing E, kind of slowly adjust, just like this. So let's actually go through here. So just making that slight adjustment, and that's somewhat better, but we can do a lot better. So I can just move this around. And it's slightly better, but it kind of stops really quickly. We need to go into a curve editor to fix that. But there's one more thing, and that is we're going to do an arc, because arcs are kind of interesting. We like arcs. So just like that, just a little bit, you don't And we can just slowly adjust just like that here. So, you know, just something like this. And you can tell it's starting to take shape. So what I like to do is kind of move the torso just a couple of frames ahead. And you can tell like this is already starting to take shape. Now that, but let's say, I don't know, let's just fix the head, maybe make that slightly lower. Like this here. All right, so, and let's also fix the torso. There we are. So now it's time for the curve editor. So curve editor, let's just go through here and let's just select everything above the head, from waist to head. So click on that, press F, and there we go. So there's a couple things, like I always like to start from a couple points below and here, and you can kind of see. All right, so let's actually make this slower. What I like to do is probably drag it out just a little bit more here. Same thing, kind of drag this out and see what we can come up with. There we go. And you see it's a little bit smoother because it's slow. Like I said, this is ease in, ease out, ease in, ease out. Like that, but a little bit of animation too. What I like to do is just do like a slow drop off, you know, just something like this. Just slowly, whoops, sorry. Let's make sure that the head, something with the head, just slowly going in like this. Ease in, ease out. So just a little bit. So ease in. Whoops. And I just kind of like slowly make adjustments as I go along. So this, I like to right click and let's do a smooth select. Just see what happens. Let's just do 3 and maybe do like 3 here. So smooth selected, see how that works. Maybe click on this. I just like to kind of play around with it. So slight smooth and see what we can come up with. Okay, so all right, so we're slowly getting there. What I like to do is slowly just ease in, ease out. So and you can tell, we're already making huge progress. It's a lot better than just turning the neck, just making sure. I want to make sure keep this at like a linear pace. Is that my head? Just kind of making sure. And you can easily, like this, right there. Perfect. It's slowly getting there. Now that, so what I like to do is I like to optimize just a tiny bit. So I'm going to go here, sorry. Select everything. Ay, 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 ay. So optimize. Yeah, let's just go like 0.3, you know. There we are. See what we can. There we go. So just a little bit of optimization, and there we go. It just comes with enough practice and going back and forth, but yeah. But those are little things. So just kind of notice how, you know, how it value over time, here, how easy it is. You know, just slowly, something gradual, ease in, ease out. So just that's something that I always pay attention to, like how, if it's smooth. So if you see any, like, especially cleaning up mocap, if you see something really out of the ordinary, or let's say if the leg is shaking, you can actually go through, like, you go right click and then you can sample and see which keyframe here, and you can actually delete it and make smooth adjustments like this, you know. Something easy and gradual. And I think this works pretty well. And yeah, this is like, you can actually make really good smooth animation with iClone. You can just, it takes a little bit of time and some practice, but this is quite critical, I think. And it, you know, and that's the thing, it takes enough time and practice, and sometimes we're patient, sometimes we're not, you know. Sometimes you'll see me just kind of skip ahead quickly, and sometimes you'll see me at it for like an hour, and then I just say, okay, good enough, we're done. You know, there's no set time or anything, it's up to you. Like the last couple of videos, I was just playing around with this for at least a couple hours before. But yeah, you know, just that's the thing with the curve editor. It's just time, value, and as long as it's not way too, you know, there has to be like an easy going through. It's like going through like a roller coaster, you know, just going through, and you know, you don't want anything like way too crazy. You just want ease in, ease out. It's kind of gradual. So it starts out slow, goes through here. So slow. And if you're using iClone 8 and you're not using the curve editor, you're leaving behind a really powerful tool. So, and this is why. And this could be, like I said, we're doing a head turning animation, but it kind of teaches you the little principles to work with. Ease in, ease out, secondary action. So if a character's talking, you know, just kind of move the torso, move the arms a little bit, that kind of thing. That's kind of important, you know, just playing around with that. And sometimes it's a hit and miss. Sometimes I'm going to screw up badly and come back and realize, oh, I screwed up, and I'll go in and edit. And sometimes, you know, it's one of those things. So the body is good. And now it's time for the other. It's kind of a layered approach. So, you know, it's, you know, the head, it's a lot more complicated than just turning the neck. You have to turn body and all that, but it's also face. So facial animation is kind of important too. So let's go through here. And now this is the part where, whoopsies. Did I flatten it? Yes, I did. I'm going to keep this just for reference. You can flatten if you want, but I'm going to keep it for reference. Next is going to be the facial animation. Now this is quite important. Facial animation is very, very key. Here's what I like to do is like a face key. So just here is your muscle. You know, let's say if we want the character, can make adjustments like this. The most important thing is animating the eyes. Eye animation. I don't think many people pay attention to eye animation too much. You know? And then especially eyebrow. because that's the first thing we pay attention to when it comes to characters. We always pay attention to eyes and eyebrows. So you can also use the expression. There's also a modifier. So something like this. You can also do face mocap if you want. Sometimes I'm starting to do this where I'm actually, and you know, I might actually, well, I would actually kind of do my my face plugin, like my mocap setup. I would actually record like eye animation, like blinking. You know, I would record around here. So I would kind of do stuff like this, the eyebrows, because it kind of makes a huge difference. This is something I'm starting to play around with, where I'm only mocapping, not the smiling or anything, like not like the lip syncing, but it's more like around here. You know, if I want something like natural blinking or something, that's something I'll work with. So, but I'm just going to try to keyframe it. It's very hit and miss for me. I'm still experimenting, but still, let's go through it. So face key, you know, let's just go through a couple things. Let's go to expression. You know, maybe like this. You know, kind of make adjustments, and this is just something to really just play around with. See what each slider does. You can actually make really good facial animations with just playing around with the face key. This comes with a lot of practice. And then maybe, you know, something surprises him. Now we can actually do something, reset to 0. Okay. Yeah. Now he's being a little pouty or something. Yeah. Yeah, maybe one eye is raised. Not that, but maybe. Whoops. Forget that. Yeah, something like this. Oops. We can also just smoothen out the animation, but still. What I'd like to do is kind of has that, if you ever seen like Burn After Reading, Brad Pitt's look when he enters the car, John Malkovich. Yeah, just something like that, you know. This is just basic animation, but just like the subtle changes in expression, you know, happy, sad, when they find something. It could be good, bad, doesn't matter, but when they see something, you know, what I like to do is let's just make sure everything is good. So I like to go in my curve editor, and this is where I'm going to flatten everything. Not that, but I'm going to sample, and I'm going to have everything optimized. Select all, press F. It's kind of a mess, so what I like to do is just kind of optimize everything so it's easier to work with and edit. And then I'm just going to smooth in everything, like at least like 15 or so. And just kind of slowly adjust as I go along. Sometimes I'll change the size, sometimes I'll just go back and forth. But that's the thing, just kind of playing around here. You know, sometimes I'm going to make, sometimes I'm just going to break, you know. Whoop, there we go. If there's like a quick scene. Whoops, did I actually, oh no. You know, just flatten everything now. Going to break. What the heck? What are you doing? I guess not. Guess not. That must be like a little bug or something weird. But yeah, just small changes like this, and like to kind of slowly adjust. So let's just increase the size of it. But the thing I noticed is always the eyeball moves first. If the character is looking, the eyeball moves first. And you know, maybe something's going on here. And that's what I like to do. Just flatten everything. Not that, but let's also, what I like to do is just raise, and then down it goes. Not that, but we'll just maybe add a frowny face. Something bothers him. Like, what's with my animation? This is really bad, you know. It's just something like this. You can, you know. Not that, but we can also change some of the facial. Let's actually go and, like I said, it's all layers. So you can see when, you know, maybe there's like a little bit here. Here, and you can see, like I said, it's just, sorry, I'm just flattening everything. But it's just kind of little steps, you know, you can find some things like here, and then finally, when it sinks down, you know, it's kind of like how a little bit of, how I call it, like rise in, rise up. There's like something, I don't really have a term or an expression right now I can think about it. It's like there's like a wind up and then like a certain moment. It's like it's anticipation. So when, you know, when something like that, and then back up here, but we'll smoothen that out a bit. You know, something's bothering him, so we'll just go here. We'll just go to our curve editor. Oh, there you are. And it's just about layers, working with layers. Like I said, this is just a very quick animation, but kind of gives you like an overall look into like some of the, you know, like how to animate pretty decently. In iClone, it's much more than just moving it back and forth. There's always little bits of layers, and you know, I'm not the best animator. I really am not, but I like to I just like working with it, and let's go with optimize. Yep. And that, but I like to just smooth in here just a little bit. So let's go see how that works. And sometimes I just go back and forth. I like to, let's see, let's just change it, just slightly give it some here. And not only that, but let's also decrease here and here. It's a little bit more smoother. But yeah, you kind of see it goes up and down. So let's just move it here just a little bit, see how that does. I know it's sometimes it's a little tedious, but it's a lot better, isn't it, than just turning the head back and forth, These little layers, these little motions matter, I guess, Is it good? Probably not, Someone could do this a lot better than me, but, just, it's one of those things. And I kind of like, I'll probably take something, let's say, just a quick reaction shot. Something's bothering him, so I probably go through here. Make small adjustments as I go along, but yeah, it's like curve editor, use optimize, use smooth, kind of make it easier to work with, ease in, ease out, kind of sliding around. Just remember, it's ease in, ease out, making it smooth, not too bumpy, just an easy gliding through its value over time. And not only that, but it's a lot better, isn't it? Probably go in and adjust that, but yeah. I mean, if anyone has any questions, let me know. But yeah, that's kind of like the basic, I would say, like head turning animations. That's kind of like just kind of how to properly work with it and how to do stuff. Like, it's like the first step of good, animating with iClone, I guess. Like how to really, really make it look good, I guess. Is it good? Well, we'll see. It's all about how much time you put into it, but it does say a lot, doesn't it? That was just me kind of messing around for a half an hour, so, or how long this thing took, about at least a half an hour. So, just go in and practice. Go read a couple books. Go see what you can do. Learn the principles of animation. There's a good book, Animator Survival Kit, that's worth a look. Kind of get the idea of animation. It's more than just turning the neck or the head a certain degree. There's a lot of little steps, and the more you know about it, the more you can practice, the more you can refine your skills. So, and this will apply to me. I work with a mocap suit. This stuff's always in my thoughts. Like, I always think about what you see here tonight with the steps. This is what I do with my mocap. I always fix it. I always make small adjustments. I always use the add motion layer. Even in my face mocap, I'm always changing, adjusting, and fixing. It's always about, and those little principles, a really fancy mocap suit is not going to save you. You're going to have to know some work. You're going to have to do it. So that's how you work with iClone. So yeah, I think that's enough of my little rambling. But if anyone has any questions, let me know. I really hope this helped you, because this one was kind of a tough one to teach. And some people might not, might have a lot of questions, but just go in and play with the curve editor. Go and play with it. Just remember about the curve editor. I'm just going to repeat this as many times as I think. I know it looks scary for anyone who's just new to it. Just remember this here. If we press here, press F, it's value over time. Time and value. Value over time. So remember that. Ease in, ease out, much more smoother. And sometimes you kind of see me moving around a couple of keys because of overlapping action. So it's ease in, ease out. Everything moves in arcs. Kind of see the character here. See how the body here, body turns, and there we go. So that's kind of a breakdown. Hopefully this helped you. Discord's down below if anyone has any questions. Eventually, like I said, I'm not the best like animation teacher. I'm gonna be honest with you, but this is so I can't really do anything way too crazy. But I just want to show you the basics. So yeah.